All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Inside AWAI. Today we're talking about successful careers in copywriting and what that really means, what that looks like. There's so many different ways for you to thrive once you have these skills. There's not just one box. There's not just one path. And you're going to meet some very special, I'm gonna tease to them a little bit, members who are living their version of the writer's life. It isn't necessarily that you have to work freelance on your own by yourself. That's what some people want, that's what some people strive for, but that's not the only way. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. With me as my co-host is the wonderful Pam Foster, our Director of Training. Hi, Pam.
Hi there. Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
You're welcome. And yeah, it's so great because Pam has really lived all of the examples that we're going to be talking about. She's like the walking, talking, living, breathing example for every path that we're going to be talking about today. And the beauty of Inside AWAI is we are just focused on one topic. We're going to be here as long as you want us to be. We're going to answer all your questions. And so don't be shy as far as asking any questions that you have about what we're talking about. And know that this is a forum to have these kind of discussions. So let's just jump right in and our goals for today. So like I said, a lot of times when we're talking about the writer's life or we're talking about a career in copywriting, it's assumed that we're talking, it has to be a full-time freelance lifestyle. But we know from 21 years of doing this, we know from the thousands and thousands of writers that are now living the writer's life thanks to the training that they've got from us, that that's not the only option. There are several ways you can do this. That's the beauty of this. You really can take these skills and mold and create a lifestyle that works for you, an environment that works for you, and a career that works for you. You're going to meet two very special guests in just a little bit, and they're going to talk about their experience, and along with Pam and me, we're going to give you ideas on how to decide what's right for you or how to transition from one to the other. That's the other beauty about this, too. You're not locked into anything. If you decide to go the full-time freelancer route, but then realize, hey, you know, I would like to work in an office environment. I'd like to be more of a team and have the perks and security and things like that go along with that. You can make that decision. You can do all of these things as they suit your life and your lifestyle. Then, as always, we will open up for your questions. Now, so first we're going to talk about being a full-time freelancer. This is when this is your full-time job. This is your bread and butter. This is where you're putting all your time and energy. Typically, when you get to the point where you're a full-time freelancer, you have a handful of really good clients. Now, these clients may come and go over the years, but you're always going to have a core that makes up the bulk of your income and that you put the majority of your attention into. And the beauty of this is building these longer-term relationships is you're already hitting the ground running. You don't have to do all the initial work every single time you start a product. You're going to really, you will feel like part of the team even if you aren't on premises with everyone, because you're going to be living and breathing the products and services that these clients offer. Typically, you will work on a wide variety of projects and assignments. That's the other thing. For all of these options that we're talking about, you're not locked into just writing sales letters or just writing emails or just writing blog posts. There's going to be a portfolio of things that you offer, and it will change and mix and match with the projects. The beauty about being a direct response copywriter in today's world is there are so many components and pieces that make up any one single sales campaign, any one effort. If you really just stop and think about it, it's mind-boggling, and the amount of writing that needs to be done on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis by any company that markets on the web or in the mail. You know, you think about a sales letter. Well, there's the order device. There's the ads that lead to it. There's the emails that lead to it. There's the emails that get sent afterwards. There's the editorial and content and blog posts that support it. There's the communication within the companies. There's the special reports and items that go into the fulfillment. There are the case studies and white papers that support. And that I'm just scratching the surface there. But my point is once you have these handful of excellent clients, you're going to have this wide variety of projects and assignments to work on. Typically, if you have committed, if you've made this full-time freelancer, it'll get 100% of your focus. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean you're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week like a lot of full-time employees do. It could be that you're working 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever it is a day, 4 days a week, 3 days a week. But it's just that this is your main income stream. This is where you're putting the majority of your time. Paul Hine said, for example, he is 100% a full-time freelancer, but you know he just works mornings. That's when he's most creative. That's when he gets his work done, and then you know he takes the afternoons off. I know a lot of full-time quote-unquote writers that do that. So by full-time, doesn't necessarily equal 40, 50, 60 hours a week. It just means that this is your main source of revenue. It's fairly easy to get to six figures. You know, it takes a couple years to build and grow, but it's definitely attainable. And, you know, when you think about the perks, it is the things that we talk about, and we introduce you to people who are living that lifestyle. You know, the freedom, the opportunity to travel and work from wherever you are, to pick and choose the clients that you really want to work for and the products that you believe in. So that's one path that is a fairly common one. And now, Pam, why don't you talk about when you were a full-time freelancer? What was that like for you?
Sure. For a while, so I was in corporate America for 25 years and worked my way up, you know, through those kinds of companies. I worked for LL Bean. I worked for several B2B companies, and it was very fun, and I learned a lot. But I finally got sick of cubicle life, and I took a big leap and went into freelancing with my former employer, my final corporate employer being my first client as a freelancer, which was beautiful because I had worked in-house, and I told them, I just can't do this anymore. I have kids that need my attention and all that sort of stuff. So they said, well, we still want to have your help, so can you do freelance work for us? So that was a cool thing, and maybe you can do that too. But so I worked for about 4 years as a full-time freelancer in the niche industry I had just come from, which was the veterinary industry. And I mainly did that, and I also did other work on the side. Guess for who I did that? AWAI.
But wait. Don't get there yet. I'm going to take you. You're going to be my poster child for all these different things that we're talking about.
Okay.
So when you were a full-time freelancer, did you have just one client or multiple?
I had multiple, and I have to be honest, I struggled at first because I was kind of poking around in generally in different markets. So I tried finance, I tried health, I tried B2B, and I wasn't really getting traction until I chose a niche focus, which was the veterinary/pet industry. And that's when it really took off, because suddenly I was immersed in one industry. People could find me when they were searching on Google to find a pet copywriter or veterinary copywriter. So that's when it took off. And I had a small variety of clients. Some would come and go. I did everything from websites for something called Pet Alert or PetAmberAlert.com to very technical software for the veterinary industry and puppy stairs, you name it. It was really interesting, but it was all in one niche, which made it super fun and varied, but something I was really comfortable and familiar with.
Great. And I know you were an early COSer, Circle of Success member, and as far as setting up your business and all the things that go with being a full-time freelancer, I assume that's where you found your help and support?
Yeah, because, you know, as a freelance copywriter, you're a solopreneur pretty much, and you're working alone at home, and there aren't a lot of people in your neighborhood who get what you do or who can help you in any way. You're like, I'm a web copywriter, and they'll go, oh, what is that? So it's awesome to have a circle of peers, which is what AWAI is all about, that are all these people who are also copywriters working solo. And so we make sure we have social media networks and other opportunities to connect with fellow copywriters, and that makes a huge difference. I mean, I have a couple of groups that I still belong to where we email each other all the time and help each other out, and then on social media there's a bigger community that is very supportive. So love that.
Great. Okay, so that's definitely one path for anybody that has competent writing skills that is looking to build a full-time business. But then there are other people who don't want to do this full-time, who want to just do it as part-time and want to still be freelance. Maybe they love their job that they're doing and they just want to earn a little extra money, or maybe they have somebody at home they're taking care of, a child or a parent, or have other responsibilities and just don't want to commit 100% of their time to this.
Yeah, and if I can jump in for a sec, the reason I chose that photo of the school bus is because Mindy McHorse, who's one of our very prolific part-time freelance writers for AWAI, she joined us several years ago with very young children. She still has young children, and so her mission is to be there for her kids when they get off the school bus, and part-time writing is perfect for her.
So in that case, you don't have as many clients, you know, but these are where retainer deals are good, and we have plenty of programs that talk about how to land those and what the best types of projects are for those kind of things. There's still a variety of projects and assignments. That's really true for any copywriter. But in this case, you're taking on projects and assignments where you're comfortably working 10 to 20 hours a week. Six figures isn't necessarily the goal, although Mindy certainly makes more than that, and she's got 4 kids now, and she said she works about 20 hours a week. But I wouldn't go into it with the goal of I wanted, at least not starting that at 6 figures. This is really extra income. This is seeing if you like this. It's getting your balance and keeping options open. Again, this gives you flexibility for family, travel, other interests. And so, Pam, I know that you were a part-time freelancer as well, so just a few thoughts about that from your experience.
Well, I still am. I'm going to explain that a little more down the road a bit, because we've got some hybrid options that I'm going to show you. But
sure.
Yeah, so I want to keep that under my hat for a little bit longer.
Okay. All right. So that's a cliffhanger, everybody. So anyway, so Pam, I'm going to flip the ball over to you, and you're going to walk us through the next options, and you're going to introduce our guests.
Yes.
So
okay.
Here comes the ball.
All right. All you have to do is click on the
Here it comes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not coming. There we go.
There we go. All righty. So another option which I've done and is an in-house or in-house copywriter, and that's where you work either in an agency or you are part of a marketing communications department for a corporation. I've done both of those. So let me kind of go over what that looks like. In the direct response world, there are big publishing companies or direct response companies that are always looking to add to their in-house staff. I think of Agora and Oxford Club and Banyan Hill and other companies. Maybe you can name some, Katie, as well. And AWAI has a couple of staff employees. Oh, they're coming to get me. I don't know if you can hear the sirens. So we have a couple of staff writers too, because most of these kinds of companies, direct response companies, need so much content on a daily basis that it pays to have a team in-house. So that's something you could look into if you would like to be part of a team.
It is the best training ground because you are just immersed, especially if you're in a direct response company, a direct response company like one of the Agora divisions or AWAI or any of the big national marketers, just because you're living and breathing it and you're surrounded by it and you're surrounded by people who are living and breathing it as well.
Right, and then another option is to work for a marketing agency, ad agency, B2B agency. We're going to introduce you to someone who does that. And agencies have copywriters on staff. And I used to work for an ad agency in Maine, and I was writing for the clients that the agency had. So I was part of the team, which was really fun. And we would come up with creative campaigns, and then I'd write all the copy. And it was everything from electric utilities to banks to small businesses, whatever the agency had for clients. So you didn't even have to market yourself at all. You just worry about the writing, and you're part of a team. The other model I've also worked in is working for one company in-house as part of the marketing communications staff. And like I said, my last job was in the veterinary industry. We made equipment for veterinary practices to use, and so I was the copy chief in-house for a constant stream of materials that we needed to provide to our sales reps when they were going out on the road to visit practices, as well as the website. I grew up with the web, being an in-house staff member for Blue Cross of Maine. And it's funny because the first thing we ever did on the web was kind of like slap a brochure online, and we had no idea what we were doing. And so we had to grow as the web grew. I mean, search engine optimization didn't even exist yet. I'm really aging myself now here, but being part of a company is really fun because you are all on the same mission. And you're learning all the pieces around the copy you're writing. You're learning the marketing plan and the customer service piece and the fulfillment piece. Like, okay, what happens if they buy the product? What happens then? So you're, like Katie said, it's a great way to learn the whole picture of how copywriting and creating sales letters and all that fits into the whole machine, really, to run a business. So some of those jobs can be six figures. When I was working in corporate America, I was not making six figures as a copywriter, but I know that in the direct response publishing houses that is very possible, and there are royalties involved and things like that. So the perks are that you have benefits as a staff member. There are benefits: health insurance, vacation pay, all kinds of things. You might have dental, vision, whatever. Long-term disability, all that stuff comes into play. You have a steady income, and you're part of a team where you're all working together on something. So I am a full-time in-house staff person now with AWAI as Director of Copywriting. Yay! And
we're very happy about that.
Oh my God, thanks. Well, it's the best team I've ever worked with in my life, and I've been around. But the thing is, we just launched something today for a certain membership part of our business that took months to build, and we just launched it, and working together, amazing teamwork, and we all had a piece of making it happen, and I love that. I really love that, and I think that's why I took an in-house job, because for me personally, the solopreneur thing wasn't as exciting, honestly, and that's what's beautiful about this, is there's something for everyone. So speaking of that, another idea, another model completely, is to write for your own business. You don't write for clients at all. You might have a business idea, or you're a coach, or you do something where a lot of people could use your services. Well, then you might want to do your own business. We had a member whose name is Holly. She started her own blog about women working at home or women making money online, and her blog is amazing and highly visited, and she makes a lot of money from ad revenue because there are companies who want to reach the same people she's reaching, which is working women. So she's doing quite well with a blog site. It's amazing. And that's her own business. She doesn't have clients. This is what she does. We, of course, all know Bob Bly, or you should know Bob Bly if you don't. He is the king of creating information products on how to write your own novel, how to create your own audience, all of these other cool things. And he's built quite a huge following, an email list of his own, and then he sells his products to them. He does incredibly well at running his own business in that way. Then we have your own retail or e-commerce site. We were at an event, a live event this January for web writing, and it was a small event with just 60 copywriters, and one of them stood up and said, I want to be writing my own website for books that are in public domain and have kind of fallen by the wayside. I want to bring them back to life, and that's my business. I want to write for my own business. So you get to run the show when you have your own business. You don't really have clients. You don't have to wait for them to approve anything. You are the client. You get to approve what you want. And so that's the big benefit of having your own business. The income is limitless. It's really about what you decide to do. And with the internet today, gosh, it could be anything. We have money-making website people who are doing travel sites or beer fan sites or whatever it is you want. So that's kind of exciting too. All right, now, having given you sort of those straightforward models that are very discreet and clear, now we've got a bunch of hybrids. And this picture of Steve Maurer here, his hybrid model is that he has a day job that doesn't involve copywriting. He's in manufacturing and industrial safety. He doesn't write copy during his day job, but he is a B2B manufacturing and industrial safety copywriter on the side, and he's perfectly happy with that arrangement. He makes a good living. He likes his day job, but he's pretty much doubled his annual income through doing freelance on the side. And you may have met him in our LinkedIn member groups, because he's incredibly prolific on social media and helpful and generous and amazing. And so he's got a hybrid of working a day job, nothing to do with copywriting, and then doing copywriting on the side as an incredible income. You know, he told us he's happy to do it part-time to, you know, be able to take his wife on a great vacation and all these extra things, perks that he can live the lifestyle he wants for his grandkids. So now I'm going to introduce you to Les Worley. And Les, say hi to everybody. He's muted.
Hello, everybody. How are you? I guess I'm a hybrid now. I didn't realize that until I saw this slide.
Well, join the hybrid group, because I'm this hybrid too.
Really?
So quickly, I just want to say that I'm a hybrid because I work full-time for AWAI, but I also do freelance on the side so that I can still be in the trenches with clients and tell you what's going on in the world of freelance. So I do that with pet industry clients mainly. So let's talk about you. So what was your background before you became a freelancer?
I was also in corporate America for like 30 years in a totally different area than you were, Pam. was in IT for about 15 of those 30 years, and the 15 prior to that, I was a hardcore software developer. So I was in the tech space, writing enterprise software and robotic software even before that was cool. And then I was in an internet service provider that actually survived the bust. So I was a full-time techie, but I always tended to be the one who had to translate the technology stuff up to the C-suite because they never understood what we did. So a lot of that was done via writing. So I thought, well, I didn't know exactly how that translated to copywriting, but it eventually did.
Okay. And when you decided that copywriting was your thing and you wanted to leave the tech and IT world behind, how did you go about doing that?
Well, it's a long story, but I'll try to make it really short. I had known about AWAI for years. In fact, I had the accelerated program for way too many years. Don't laugh, Katie, but it really was a long time.
I'm not laughing.
And when I found the program again, I was at a burnout point again in my career.
You're breaking up just a little bit less, and I missed what you're burned out on.
Oh, sorry about that. And we pay for this extra service, don't we, right? So I was burned out from having been promoted into a director's position, and I was running operations and software development for a company, and I was on call every night, every day, even when we were on holidays, and so I was totally burned out, and I happened to open a packing box and found the old blue binder. The accelerated program used to be printed in a binder, and there it was staring me in the face. And so it was a couple months before the annual AWAI boot camp, and my partner at the time says, you know what, do they still have that thing in Florida? So you should go check it out. You know, if you want to try something new, check it out. So I dug into the course. I hadn't finished the course, but I went to boot camp, found these amazing people and supportive people. A lot of those people had been in the same position that I had been in. And so I left boot camp. On the plane back, I took out a legal pad out of my bag and I wrote myself a plan. And by the end of the next year, I had left my job. And I was, so at that point I was a freelance, a part-time freelance copywriter. That snowballed really quickly into taking all of my time. And so here we are. That's my company was very supportive of me. They actually let me write a marketing piece for them after I resigned. It was not a very good marketing piece, but it was my first one. So they were supportive of that, and I've never really looked back on that. Never regretted having taken that step.
That's awesome. And then you worked for one client in particular who then couldn't live without you and offered you a full-time gig, right?
Yes, actually, in 2015, early 2015, a client contacted me via my LinkedIn profile. They turned out they were here in Dallas. I live in Dallas, or at least I do right now.
You're breaking up again?
Oh, no. I'm sorry about that.
It was good, then it wasn't. Let's keep going.
Yeah. Is that better now?
Yes.
Okay, so in early 2015, a client contacted me to write some brochures, and they found me on my LinkedIn profile. Turned out they were here in Dallas, where I live right now, and I had lunch with them. They hired me. It turned out they were an agency. They are a PR and marketing agency exclusively for B2B technology companies, which is exactly where I'm at. So I did a project for them. I did a brochure. The client loved it. I ended up doing a series of 9 brochures, which defined their entire campaign strategy. And I was pretty new at this at the time. So one project led to another project. And this was not my only client. The agency wasn't my only client, but over that year, they added more and more and more projects. The following year, they put me on retainer, which is, the gold standard. It was a very lucrative $5,000 a month retainer for about 20 hours of work a week. And then as that year kind of concluded, they upped the retainer and upped the retainer again. And pretty soon they were going to jack it up one more time. And instead they said, no, our clients have come to know you as part of the family here. So we want you to join us full time. And I was just kind of stunned because I really liked the retainer work and being able to work from home and, fixing my schedule and do my own thing. And so that was kind of an excruciating decision. And I think you and Katie and Rebecca and a couple other people kind of talked me through it. And the main question they ask is, well, what do you want out of it? Mm-hmm. And figure out what you want out of it if you're at all interested. And tell them what you want. What's the worst thing that can happen? They say no, and you go on being a freelancer for them. Yep. So that's what I did. I said I want to work from home. I don't want to really work more than 40 or 45 hours a week if you're going to have me as a full-time employee. I don't want to drive to the office. I want to be able to get up and work in the early morning hours, the late night hours if I feel like it. I want lots of time off. I want to be able to travel. And I want to be able to freelance on the side too. And so there was an awkward silence after that. Yeah. And they said, that works. And I was just kind of stunned. So I'll kind of wrap it up, guys. But as a, when you start working for somebody as a staff writer, you don't necessarily make the big dollars right off the bat. But here's this kind of a new freelancer or relatively new freelancer, and I made 6 figures last year. So
that's great. That's great.
So
you get to work from home.
I do.
And are your clients, so your clients though, they don't compete with any of the clients that you write for at the agency, right? You make sure that
No, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, right. I wouldn't do that.
I do get that question, and I always say never ever work for a competition or a competitor to someone you're writing for, because I always say, I'm going to help you dominate the world, and I'm going to give you 110%, and you can't turn around to their competition and say the same thing. And yeah, right. So that's good. Yeah. Cool.
And that's true as a freelancer too, Yeah. And one of the interesting things that's happened is I do still freelance, and I do as much freelancing on the side as I want to, not have to, but want to. Yeah. And in fact, I can't keep up with it. And I'm having to turn them away. And right now, I'm not actively prospecting for new clients. They're coming back to me. And what's really, really interesting is that I was referring some of these new clients or prospective clients to other copywriters, and saying, "I'm sorry, my calendar is full. Feast or famine." Actually, feast. And laytly, the large ones, after I've talked to them, I found out that what they really want is more than just somebody to write copy, a copy project. They want, somebody full time. They want to outsource it, and not just the copy, but the design and like. So I've been referring them to the agency I work for. And it turns out. Yeah. Well, can you say bonuses?
Great, good, smart.
Yeah, so in fact, about 5 minutes into this call today, I had a message on Slack, which is what my company uses to communicate internally, that they had signed yet another of those clients into a deal. And so this has been a really good year for me and a good year for them. It may sound kind of self-destructive, but I'm referring clients away that I might myself would want to have.
If you don't have time to do that, then this is a win for everybody.
Yes, absolutely. And when we talk about my future plans, I'll tell you why I'll tell you why it's really not self-destructive when we talk about what I'm going to do in the future.
Sorry, I didn't. That was broken up the last sentence.
That's okay. I'll tell you more about why it's not self-destructive when we talk about the future.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. I mean, how exciting is that? Where he started out freelancing for an agency, and they loved him so much. And I remember the email he sent me. What did they call you? Their angel,
unicorn.
or what was it? The unicorn.
Yeah, unicorn.
because they. Go ahead.
They'd been looking for a writer so long that matched their client profile, and they couldn't find one. And once they finally convinced me to go on board, their email they sent out was, "We finally bagged our unicorn."
That's awesome. I love that.
I have a glass unicorn sitting in my office at the agency, which I only go into one day a week. But I have a window office.
Nice.
You know, it's kind of crazy, you know, for somebody who's not there very much.
Oh, that's funny. Well, thank you so much, Les. I love your story. I have to cut it short now because we want to hear one more. But, you know, people can find Les Worley online if they want to know more about his story. Just Google him, Les Worley Copywriter, and you'll find him.
Hey, Pam, can I say one more thing?
Yes, you can.
One more thing is, you know, I talked about working from home and working remotely. In 2 months, 8 weeks actually, we're moving to Mexico. We bought a home in Mexico. And so the company is keeping me on staff, full salary and benefits from Mexico.
Nice.
So, so yeah, that's my version of the writer's life, combined with all this other stuff. So, you know,
living the dream. That's great. Thank you so much, Les. I really appreciate you taking the time to tell us your story. Now we're going, thank you. Now we're going to turn to Christina Gillick. Now her hybrid is, she does freelance writing for us and other clients, I believe, and then she has her own business that's a retail business. So she's writing copy for her own retail business. So Christina, hello.
Hi, Pam.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Good. We're having phone breakup issues today, but hopefully it'll work. Oh, okay. So
is mine not good either?
It's really breaking up a lot.
Can you give me just 1 second to switch to?
Sure. Okay. And I can tell you what I know about you while you're doing that. Okay. So Christina's an AWAI member who found us and started doing copywriting. And Katie, you may even know more about her than I do as far as working with AWAI. But she has been writing sales letters for us and doing an incredible job, grown a lot with us. And we really count on her for quite a lot now. But she only has part-time for us because she also has an e-commerce business that's about earrings. So, Kate, Christina, are you back with us?
I'm not sure yet. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, that's much better.
Okay, yay. Okay, I switched over. I wasn't able to get the computer to connect earlier, so I was using the phone, but so I switched back to the computer. So,
all right.
Okay, so it's working.
So tell us what you're doing now, because you live a hybrid business or a life that includes freelance copywriting, but then you have your own e-commerce website.
Yep. So I kind of started both around the same time. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I just kind of was like, you know, maybe I'll just do a little of this and a little of that. And you know, over years they kind of both grew. So for a while I struggled with, you know, should I stop doing client work so that I could focus on comfy earrings, or should I stop doing comfy earrings so I could focus on client work? And so it was just this kind of a battle for, you know, a year or so while I tried to figure out, you know, where to put my focus. And it finally got to the point where, like, we've outsourced quite a bit of the comfy earring stuff, mainly because I don't like doing those things. So I don't like shipping because it, like just the double checking everything, you know, making sure the address is correct and making sure the right product's in there. It just kind of zaps me of my energy. So we outsourced that, you know, doing support for our product was also something I didn't really like doing. I like to be on the marketing side rather than, the other side, so we outsourced that. And so what would happen is I would come to my desk in the morning and I would check in with the team and they would all say, yeah, we've got it handled. And then I would kind of be like, well, now what? So usually by around lunchtime, I was sitting here going, I've got the rest of the day and they don't really need me. And, I could write more blog posts and those kinds of things, but I would always turn back to clients. I would send an email like, hey, I have this idea for you. And then they would be like, that's a great idea. And then that would make me feel like I was contributing and accomplishing things. And so now I just kind of am in this flow where I get up and I check on Comfy Earrings in the morning and I do whatever is needed, usually wrap that up by lunch or early afternoon, and then I spend the rest of the day doing client work. And so I kind of get the best of both worlds from that, I think.
Yeah, that's great because you're building an asset. I mean, one of the things that we often talk about in the copywriting world is it's terrific to work for clients and have income, a very good income working for clients, but it's also very smart to come up with a second income stream that frees you from having only that hourly type of, working for a client thing, and you get the best of both. So tell us how that works for you.
Which part?
Well, the e-commerce part, I mean, that's almost a machine that is a second stream of income where you don't have to put a whole lot into it, if I understand.
Right. So once we, once it's all set up, it's kind of just, we have to check in with the manufacturer to make sure, like our products getting created. Then once it arrives, we have to check it. But, there can be like a month in between from when, you order it until you actually receive it. And so during that time, it's like I can't do a whole lot. If I wrote 100 blogs and I got a ton of business and then I sold out of my inventory, well, then I wouldn't have a business. So it's always just kind of been like, we're gonna get to the next level. So we always aim to increase our sales each month and, like from the year before and everything. But it's always been a little bit like we didn't want to grow too quickly, because if it grew too quickly, we might not be able to keep up, and then it could be nothing if, if we couldn't keep up with the demand. And so it was just kind of like, it just wasn't something that could take full time initially because of like the bottleneck of relying on someone else for the product.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons why I'm looking much more into doing kind of like, I'm going to be a hybrid with like 3 things here, but I want to do something more like, like Ben Settle does, where he creates his own product. Yep. Yeah, like a Bob Bly, like you mentioned earlier. And so I'm starting to try to carve out an hour a day to start to do that, because the biggest frustration I have is other people, and like, are they going to get our product to us in time? So.
All right. Well, that's cool. I mean, see, that's what's so neat about her story is that as a copywriter, as you may have noticed, the common thread here in all of these hybrids and options is copywriting, and you have flexibility. So she's kind of sitting on her hands waiting for a supplier. It's like, okay, forget that. I'm going to go do something else that I can control, and that's what's so beautiful about all this. So thank you, Christina, for telling the story. Yeah.
I love how you took all of my rambling and turned it into like a really good point. I'm like, wow, that makes so much sense. That's kind of what I was trying to say, but I just couldn't get there. But yeah, like the flexibility and security and just being able to, just do what needs to be done to make sure that, I have income coming in. So.
Yep. And you work from a farm. You have your own beautiful life there. Okay, perfect. See, anything's possible, you guys. Thank you, Christina. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to mention a few other hybrids because I want you to explore all these possibilities for your own life. I mean, there is no one model you have to force yourself into. So I mentioned Steve Maurer, who works his day job, totally unrelated to writing, and then he does freelance very happily. Then we have freelance copywriters who are marketing consultants. So Clayton Makepeace, Dan Kennedy, if you've heard of those guys, though they're much more than copywriters, they're incredible copywriters, but they also advise their clients as you know, consultants and guides, and they get right into the weeds with them to figure out their products and their packaging and the whole thing. So that's something you could consider doing, is being a consultant as well as a copywriter. I mean, I've been asked by certain clients in the past if I could manage their whole website launch project, because they don't really have anybody to do that. So that's a consulting role that I was happy to take on, because I used to work, you know, in corporate website launches, and so I kind of have a clue about that, especially with smaller businesses who that's just not what they know. So you could really help in that capacity. We also have Nick Usborne, who's a freelance copywriter, author, and teacher. So he teaches some of our programs on web copywriting, and he's great at it. He has a new social media program that just came out. He's a wonderful teacher. All these people I'm mentioning, they wear many more hats than what I'm saying here, but I'm just trying to give you some ideas. And like I mentioned, Bob Bly is a freelance copywriter for clients, and he's also an incredibly prolific author of a wide range of topics. Yeah, I think he's on his like 87th book, or maybe even 97th. I don't even know at this point. Some of them are on business, and some of them are on just personal hobbies he has, like science fiction. So it's incredible what you can do with copywriting, and we wanted to share that today so you could get excited and inspired about what it all means exactly to you. So now I'm going to pass the ball back to Katie, because we have some things to ask you about your writer's life.
Sure.
All right, there you go.
Oh, thank you, Pam.
Okay.
And thank you, Christina, and thank you, Les. And for our listeners, Christina and Les are still here, so if you have any specific questions for them, be sure and put them in the Q&A box, and we'll get their opinions and insights. But really, at this point, it's up to you to do a little soul searching, a little thinking, a little prioritizing in your life, and think about which is the lifestyle that's right for you. You know, knowing, of course, that you can change and that sometimes these things happen organically, but, you know, it's always your best and most effective course is to have a goal, obviously. And so if you know that your goal is to be a full-time freelancer, what do you need to do between now and then to get there? What income are you looking to make? Again, the same thing. Let's have that as the pot at the end of the rainbow here, and let's figure out what are the steps you need to do to get there. Do you want to work for clients? Do you not want to work for clients? Or do you want to be part-time, full-time? You know, all of these things that we've talked about, all of these things that Pam and Christina and Les have experienced, the things that you've experienced in your life, spend a little time this weekend. This is a great time to do it. And just draw out your perfect scenario. Write it down. What time do you get up? What does it look like? Who are you dealing with? What's the environment? What's the stress level? What, you know, all of those things. And there is a path to help you get there. There is a, you know, you can create a new hybrid even if one of these isn't right for you. But the important thing is it's up to you, but you have to do the work. Now, everybody's talked about, and, you know, the common thread in if it's freelance, if it's full-time, you know, any of these things, unless you're working for a company, you are running a business. So you do need to get into that mindset, and you are the CEO of your business. So you need to be focused on making a profit. That's what businesses do. And you need to spend some time thinking about, okay, how much time do I need to spend on learning? How much time do I need to spend on marketing? How much time do I need to spend on actually doing the work, and come up with a balance? But the sooner that you think in those terms and you start making decisions on ROI, return on your investment, it's going to propel you along. It's going to eliminate a lot of bright, shiny objects. It's going to keep you focused on what your path is. So that's my big piece of advice. No matter what path you take, come up with a plan, and we're happy to help you with that. And but the important thing is you need to get the skills. You need to figure out how you're going to get clients. A couple people have asked that. We have so many resources. There's probably 5 of these free webinars that are specifically focused on that. We probably have we may have 1,000. Who knows? We have lots of articles in our archives. We have great programs that show you that. You know, that's the thing. All of our programs, we have programs just focused on helping you build your business, helping you get clients, helping you get the confidence you need. But all of our skill building, all of our writing programs also touch on that, because we know that's why you're coming to us. Sure, you want to write, sure, you love to write, but you want to be able to make a living for your writing. So we take that very seriously, and I just encourage you to adopt that mindset as well, too. And then, you know, make a plan. Figure out the skills that you need. Get clients, or if it's a staff job, figure that out. And, you know, like I said, if you ever have the opportunity to work in a marketing department in a marketing company for a year, 2 years, I would grab it. You know, just be upfront with them. Every writer that we've had in-house, they've been with us for a few years, and then they have moved on to either full-time freelance or other positions. They've always still worked for us. We still have projects. They're still freelancers for that. So even if you get a staff job, I would be upfront about what your intentions are, but part of that intention is to continue working for them, you know, forever. And like I said, you want to think about this as a business. We're not going to get into the technical parts about a business, and honestly, we don't give that kind of advice. That we recommend you talk to an accountant or a lawyer, or really just your fellow writers, as far as if it's a LLC or, you know, what type of structure. And don't let that stop you at this point, as far as, you know, license, or, you know, most copywriters I know don't have a license, but again, you need to figure that out for yourself. And with the support of this amazing AWAI community that you have available to you, but you need to get into the mindset now that you're treating this career. This isn't a hobby. If you're here with us, you're not just looking to dabble. You're looking to take this seriously. That's my lecture, and let's open it up. Oh, again, we do have recommendations. If you haven't taken the accelerated program for six-figure copywriting, I highly recommend it. And this link will take you to the information about it. This is the foundation for any type of writing you're ever going to want to do. It's our flagship. It's what we've based the company on. Every writer that's ever worked for us goes through this. It's the gold standard really in the industry, and most of the, you know, the Agoras and the big companies, all of their writers go through it. It's just going to give you the foundation that you need. So I would definitely do that. Les mentioned boot camp. Pam, that's how we got to know her. Christina, her career has taken off because of boot camps. This is our big annual event. It happens in October this year in Delray Beach, Florida, our hometown. And it's so hard to describe the magnitude of what happens at boot camp. It's 3.5 days. You're immersed with fellow writers, people that get why you want to do this. They're doing it. There's a dozen experts or more. There's 40 marketers who are there looking to hire writers. It's just this amazingly vibrant, high energy, positive experience. I can't recommend it enough. No matter where you are, you just come in, you jump in, and you will be so much further along by the time you leave, and you're going to make great friends. And you know, so many people have gotten their careers launched at boot camp. We have, for people that are concerned about getting clients, this is a fantastic program. We just launched it a little bit ago. It's called the No Stress Method for Getting Clients, 26 field-tested strategies for introverts, extroverts, and everyone in between. And this is, we went to 26 different writers, experts, pros, coaches, and we went to them and said, okay, what is your favorite way of getting clients? And based on what they had, we grouped them into, you know, the people, what would make sense if you're not comfortable making a cold call, or you're not comfortable public speaking, or you would prefer to send an email, or, you know, whatever it is. There's so many different ways to skin this cat. There's so many different hats you can try on here. And the beauty is in this program, there are little bite-sized videos that give you proven strategies that have worked for the people that are presenting them, and highly recommend it. Then there's also another program that when you're just getting started, and it can be just such a roadblock that once you get over it, it just makes your life easier. And that's really just about getting the confidence to really embrace this part of being a copywriter and learn how to love it, and learn how to find your strengths and let them shine. And Nick Usborne walks you through this amazing journey on how to get that. So those would be my 4 best ways to start right now if you're brand new. The no stress methods for getting clients, that's good for anybody, because I promise you there's going to be something here that says, oh, you know what, I think I'm going to try that. I bet that'll work for me.
I just wanted to mention that those links there, they're going to be live links when we post the replay of this session, and you'll find that on the Inside AWAI page. And all of our sessions are recorded, and we have all of them there. So, you know, if you want to look at any of those programs, the live links will be available at the replay. So, Katie, we have questions that are prioritized in the old prioritized section there.
Yes, I've put a few over there that I promised that we, oh boy, a lot more.
Yeah, yeah.
Mary wants to know, in a case of working for a direct mail company as a freelancer, who sets the price? Do you want to answer that, Pam?
Sure. So, I mean, as far as my experience, I haven't really worked with the big publishers, so I don't know how that works. You guys will have to help me there. But a lot of companies do not know what it costs to hire a copywriter. So we had created a free document called the Pricing Guide. And if you go to our website and look at the tab called Free Resources, you'll see our pricing guide right there, and you can download it for free. And that's based on fee ranges that are very typical in our industry for people with experience. I'm not talking about like those bidding sites like it used to be called Freelance, I think it's Upwork, where they say, oh, I can do it for $10 a page. Oh, I can do it for $3. No, you don't want to do that. You want to look at the prices that professional companies pay, professional writers, and that guide is there to help you. You can set the price. You know, sometimes they have a budget. Like a lot of corporate environments or corporate companies have budgets because they have to. Every year they have to have marketing budgets, and they know what they want to allocate. So you can just say, what's your budget? And they'll say, well, we have $1,000 for this. Is that going to work for what you'll do? And you go, heck yeah. Or, no, but let's adjust what I'll be delivering. And then other companies go, I don't even know what you charge. I mean, we're going to do 5 web pages. What would you charge for that? And you'll take out your handy fee schedule you created because you looked at the pricing guide and made your own fee schedule, and you'll say something like, well, I charge $250 per web page. Will that work for you? And usually they'll be like, sure. Okay? So that's how the fee situation works. Now, with big direct response companies, Katie, do you know anything about that?
Well, they have budgets, and they know what they want to spend. So it's not as scary and intimidating as it sounds. You know, sometimes somebody has to go first, and it's a negotiation. But it's not like hardball, or it's not, you know, it's not unpleasant. It's reasonable. Everybody wants. The beauty about this business is it's all about win-wins for everybody. Right. The client wants the writer to be happy. The writer wants the client to be happy. Everybody's looking for long-term relationships and to be moving on, and multiple projects. So again, you take your experience into play. You think about how badly you want the job. It might be, if it's for, you know, Google or, you know, some huge company, you might be have a very low price just because you want to be able to say, hey, I wrote for them. If it's if you're just getting started out and it's a small company in your neighborhood, again, you would go on the lower side. But as your experience grows, as your expertise grows, your fees are going to grow along with that. But I wouldn't worry about fees at this point. Because so many people jump to that, and then they are kind of, our human tendency is to use it as a roadblock and say, oh, I don't know how to do that. I don't want to do this. Get the skills first. Get somebody that says, you know, how great is it to even be asked that question? What do you charge? You know, let's get to that point, and then we'll help you, or you'll know by then what the project is worth for you. But like I said, oftentimes the company has some idea about what they can and will pay for work that they want done.
Okay, great. So now, go ahead, the next question.
Well, Mike is asking, this is another question that we get a lot. He just started with AWAI in the accelerated program. He never knew copywriting was a career, but now he does. How long does it take to understand how to structure writing other than just putting words in a document? Christina, what was your experience? How long did it take you? It might be, the quick answer is it depends. There's so many variables. How much time you have to put into it, how you know, quickly you absorb these things, how much writing you do, how much, you know. So we've had people that have gotten through the accelerated program in under 12 weeks and have started working, and we've had people that have worked on it for longer, and you know, it takes a while to get there. But Christina, what was your experience?
Well, you know, I didn't have a lot of confidence in the beginning, so I had to start really small. And so I started by writing blog posts and articles, and so I was actually doing that before I finished my first course, because I wasn't writing you know, an entire 40-page thing. And so I started with that, and then it just kind of grew from there. You know, they, like a client would say, oh, well, can you write some emails? And I would say, well, sure, I'll give it a try. So then I would write some emails, and then little by little, it got to be more and more. So I don't know that, like, I have a time frame from where I went from nothing to being able to write like a full sales letter, because I, you know, had all these like little mini milestones along the way.
I think that's fairly common. But it really takes making the commitment to do it and then putting the time in to learn. So that would be my best advice, Mike. Stephanie, Pam, Stephanie has a question for you. What did you say to your employer when you asked if you could go freelance for them?
Aha.
Oh, Christine, you were in the same boat.
Yeah. And you know who else? Krista Jones did this beautifully. She was an engineer, and then she started learning copywriting, and she said, you know, our marketing kind of is lame, and maybe I can do some writing for this. And she, you know, worked her way from being a full-time engineer, I believe it was, to then starting to do some writing for her employer and then shifting away completely after that. For me, I was working in a marketing communications department, and we were sending out, oh gosh, every day we were sending mail to these poor veterinarians, and nobody was writing it properly, and nobody was tracking the results. And so when I found out about AWAI, we had a corporate training budget. So I said, hey, I'm raising my hand to be the person who gets what direct response copywriting is all about, so we can bring in more money from all of our mailings and stuff. So they were like, sure. And they had me buy the six-figure course, the accelerated program. And then boot camp came around, and I said, hey, can you guys send me to boot camp so I can be even better at this? And they said, sure. So in the corporate budget, they sent me to boot camp. And then when I got back, I wrote some copy for them for some direct mailings, and we did really, really well. We had like a 15% response rate on one of them, which is very high. Usually 2 to 3 or 5 is considered fantastic. So I was on my way, but in the back of my mind, I was like, I want to get out of here. I don't want to be a corporate employee anymore. So I had already kind of proven myself as a writer that can do good things for the company. And that's why it was easy when I was leaving to say, so I have all this knowledge of your business. How about if I just keep going as a freelancer? And they were like, oh, yeah, please, let's do that. So that might be a unique situation, but that's how it worked for me.
And Christina, how about you?
I would say it was a little similar, but I was not as savvy as Pam. So when some people might be familiar with my story that my boss hired Joshua Boswell to come in and do some consulting. And, you know, he actually learned from AWAI to do this. And then my boss found him and hired him to come there and write copy and mentor him. Y'all can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. I was like, I hope that everybody can hear what's happening. And so he came in and did that. And, you know, he talked about his life and like that he got to travel around doing these consulting things and getting paid really well. And then, you know, he wrote some copy and then he would go home with all of his kids where they lived in this awesome place and he, you know, worked right down the hall. And I was like, this is what I want. And so, but I was kind of, you know, I didn't want to step on my boss's toes because, you know, he had given me a really good opportunity. So I asked him, you know, how did he feel about it? And I didn't really think about it at the time, but he was really excited because, you know, if I could learn to do that, then he's already paying me. So that could be part of my job. Well, I was just looking at it as like, you know, maybe I wasn't doing something like that good for the business, but Pam had the right idea saying, hey, this is going to help you. And so I bought the course myself and everything, but then after a little while, my boss was like, oh, so how's it going? What are you doing? What are you learning? And I had some articles that I was doing on the side, and so he was, at the time, was sending an email, I want to say daily, but at least 3 times a week. I know that, and it was not something he really liked doing all that much. And so I said, you know, maybe I could do that for you. And so I started doing that and, you know, got some experience that way. And then, you know, little by little, he kept saying, well, do you know how to do this thing or can you do this thing? And so it just kind of grew from there, I guess. I don't know if I answered the question completely.
And that's so often the way that it does happen. And because the thing is once somebody figures out that you know how to write for them, that you know how to connect with their market, there is just an unending list of things that need to be written. So it does snowball. It definitely snowballs. I wanted to add, I just lost my question. Oh, Priyanka is asking, Les, maybe you can answer this, please. How effective is a website in client acquisition and personal marketing? Has your website made a difference to your freelance business?
Actually, absolutely it has, and I will tell you this, as full disclosure, my website, it needs a refresh now, so if anybody wants to, I'll do that. But when I first put up my website, and I had gone through my own little messaging exercise to get it up there to say what I do and try to make it as clear and concise as possible, I made my LinkedIn profile convey that same message. And people that were looking for technology copywriters, through LinkedIn found me, and they still find me. And that's a LinkedIn search here. But lately, what's happened, and I don't know when exactly it happened, but lately I have shown up on the first page of Google, my website, as a technology copywriter. I'm one. If you skip past the paid ads at the top, you know, I'm in the top 3. So if you can, and all that has to do with, you know, SEO and search engine keywords, optimizations and things like that. But what's really important is that person that finds you, whether it's through LinkedIn or whether it's through Google search, however they happen to land on that website, it shows them right away that you know how to write. It's not about pictures and fancy graphics and everything. It's about writing. And the more samples of that you can put on that website to show them that not only can you write a website, you can write a white paper, or you can write a case study, or you can write banner ads, whatever it happens to be. Even if those first samples come from an exercise that you did from a course, put them up there, because once they find you and say, yeah, this guy can write, I'll give him a shot, you instantly have another portfolio sample. And the more of those that you put on your website, the better the SEO. So it kind of snowballs itself. It's really important that you hang your shingle out there, and don't get hung up on making the website look beautiful and all these fancy graphics. Of course, you can do that if you want, if you know how to do that, or you want to hire somebody to make it really pretty. But it's important that you get it out there because it says who you are. And again, now that I've said all that, I really need to go back and visit my own.
Well, when you have some free time, you can do that. Well, yeah, thank you. Pam, I know you're saving one question for the end, but I do just want to put out a last call. We're trying to get every question's answer. Eduardo's asking about if we have any programs about how to create a website, and we have a fantastic one that Rebecca Matter has put together. She walked, over the course of 4 webinars, she walks you through the entire process of putting up a freelance writer's website, including all the hosting and technical issues, as well as what do you do if you don't have samples yet, or, you know, all of those important pieces. She simplifies it, demystifies it. It's called How to Build Your Freelance Writer's Website in 4 Days. And I'm sure somebody's going to put that link up shortly. So we'll do a last call here. So if anybody has a question for Les or Christina or Pam or me.
Well, I see one that Evelyn is asking. She said, in listening to you all, there's so much that scares me. Can I really do this? I'm presently a realtor and I don't like all the hours that consume my life. So the answer is yes, you can do this. We are all examples of that, and there are many, many more on our website if you look under case studies or testimonials. But the thing is, you know, you make it work for you. You can take it at your own pace. You can start looking at our free materials and webinars in the Inside AWAI page. There's everything from getting your first client to choosing your niche to setting up your business to deciding what you want to specialize in. You could start there. If you want to just dive in and take the accelerated program, that's a great place to start because that's a foundation for anything else you're going to be writing. And then if you want to write for the real estate market, that might make a lot of sense if you're a realtor because you really understand that world. You could write for title companies and mortgage firms and brokerage firms and real estate agencies. I mean, that could be a really strong area unless you're totally sick of it, and then you can do something else. That's really up to you. But you can do this. We are all I mean, I started out kind of in a corporate situation that I wasn't loving anymore, and I thought, boy, can I get out of here and still make a living? And freelance writing was my golden ticket, was my sanity and my way to get out of that. And it did take some time. You know, from when I first got the program, it took me about a year before I left my corporate life. But it was a clear path for me, and I was really excited about it and motivated to keep going. And every weekend I would work on learning more and reaching out to a client or sending, you know, writing a sample. So you can do this. I know you can, because we just have so many other members who have done this, including Les and Christina, and we're not that different from anyone else, really. We're motivated and ready to learn and grow. So I know you can, and I hope you do.
Excellent. Betsy's asking, I'm almost done with the accelerated program and starting a B2B program. She's so excited. Should I start setting up my website and LinkedIn now, or wait until I complete the program? You know, if you're almost done with the accelerated program, I'd go ahead and get started on that. I don't know if anybody disagrees with me on that. The thing is, you can always improve, you can add to as your skills go, but let's jump in the pool. Let's do this. James is asking, Jim is asking, I don't want you to think we're ignoring your questions. We've given you links to several free webinars that can help you get clients, but other than that, there's not much more we can tell you in this kind of setting. So if you want to look at those webinars, follow their advice, come up with a plan and implement them, then if you're still having issues, you know, definitely reach out to member services, and we'll see how we can help you. Okay.
Answering some more questions here. Thanks, Ingrid, for being with us.
Mary has the confidence to move forward now. I'm so excited. Go, go, go.
All right, yay. I think
ready to jump.
Yeah, people are excited, and go for it. And keep us posted on how you're doing. We love to hear, you know, when you're reaching milestones. We want to celebrate with you.
Yes, definitely. That's the best part. Well, what do you think? Should we call it? Christina,
I think we can.
Christina, any final words?
Oh wow, final words. I did just want to chime in about the question with I'm not sure which question it was, but about real estate and it taking a lot of time. Like, one great thing about this is it's something that can be done, you know, a little here and there. So if you can carve out, you know, just a couple hours a week to focus on growing your writing, then like in a few weeks, a month, maybe you can be making enough money that you can take a couple more hours away from real estate. And then in a few more weeks, you take a few more hours away. And that way, I found that to be a lot less scary. Like, you can retain your income while growing another income. And that way, it's not just all or nothing. So I was kind of thinking that. But
Excellent. And Les, how about you? Any final words?
I would just say go for it. Don't hesitate to do it. Don't be afraid of it. The range of different things that you can do, the range of industries that you can do it in, whether it's full-time, part-time, whether you work for yourself or somebody else, just decide what you want out of your new career and go for it. And we're all here to help you when you need it. And to cheer you on and to give you advice.
That's true. That's what we are very, very good at that. Just real quick, Alicia is asking, seems clients would want the entire package, media campaign, website logo, and art. Does AWAI train on this? We cover a lot of the collateral pieces. We don't necessarily keep website design or logo design, but oftentimes it's not just one person. Oftentimes there is a team. There are multiple writers. Sometimes even with really big sales letters, you know, they'll have multiple writers working on one letter with one lead writer, and then maybe he or she will hire somebody to work with him on maybe the order device or some of the body pieces within the letter. So there's no one right or wrong answer, but don't feel that you have to offer a full suite. If you want to focus on emails, that's what you can do. And the beauty of being in AWAI is if there is a client that wants a full suite and it's not something that you do, you can reach out to your fellow writers and team up with them. You are part of a very supportive and collaborative community now. So if there's something that you don't have or you don't offer, there's somebody that does and will be happy to help you out with that. Okay, yeah, Susanna's saying she partners with a graphic designer, which is fantastic. All right, we could keep going here, but this is it for today. Thank you all so much. Just wish you the best, and I hope you will spend time this weekend really thinking about what that path is for you, what you want your writing career to look like, and just know that you have so many options to really personalize it and make it your own. So wishing you all the best and looking forward to celebrating your success. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.